excited about this. Our next guest is known, of course, for his acting roles like Happy Days and Andy Griffin's show, but for years now, it's been one of his generation's most popular and successful directors.
From critically acclaimed dramas, A Beautiful Mind, to Apollo 13, he's created some of Hollywood's most memorable films. So good.
And now for his latest project, Ron Howard is bringing the extraordinary true story of the Thai cave rescue to life. Take a look.
We're joined now by Oscar award-winning filmmaker Ron Howard. We
Morning,
are very
Ron.
excited. Good morning.
Good morning.
Right,
Thank you for joining
me and
us.
Alison both watched it. It's so good.
Thank you.
So good, isn't it? I was watching it and I was like, this is taking me on such a journey. But I always wonder if, as a director, when you watch it back, do you go on the same journey that I go on as an audience, or are you already in the journey when you're doing it?
You know, I love directing actors and I love their performances, and there's some performances in this movie, even though it's an ensemble film and it's really about driving that greater story, there are these moments, some of the Western actors, some of the Thai actors, that really continue to reach me. They did when we filmed them, and they still mean a lot to me.
Well, Ron, all your films, you know, the films that I've loved down the years are yours. I was thinking about this last night. They've all got empathy. Like, there's such an empathetic director. And but it's the most kind of un-Hollywood take on what could easily be a Hollywood take on this on this rescue. Do you know what I mean by that?
Well,
like, to kind of un-Hollywood Viggo Mortenson, Colin, Farrell, and Joel Edgerton, who are these proper leading men. You've just normalised everything so well.
It's more like a documentary.
Yeah.
Well, I've been directing some documentaries in recent years as well, and of course I love them. And there've been some terrific documentaries made on this subject. But the one thing that you can do with the scripted film, with that kind of narrative and those sort of great actors, is you do create empathy. You know, it's you not only reach the mind and the heart the way a documentary can, but you can kind of get into an audience's nervous system.
Right.
And you can create that sense of anxiety and tension and suspense through that connection with characters. Suddenly you're relating to what might it have been like to be in the midst of an operation like that.
So, I mean, the script, William Nicholson's script, where did you start? Because this is a story we think we know, you know, we watched it out. It's kind of a story that was coincided with a 24-hour news cycle, so we kind of the whole world was captivated by this. So where did you start when you wanted to?
Well, I'm with you. I thought I knew the story until I read William Nicholson's script, and he had already done a great deal of research, had done a lot of interviews, and there was just so much more.
It came to you.
The script came to me, and it was like a gift, because I was fascinated by the subject, fascinated by including Thai culture, because it really is a story of international cooperation. It's kind of an object lesson in what is possible. And you come away from the film, I hope, thinking, well, if Thailand and the rest of the world and the West, East and West, could meet to make this happen, what else could they possibly achieve?
And you're so right, because when you watch the film, like the decisions that are made quite instinctively on the ground by local guys and girls, who are just okay, well, how can we help these kids?
Well, and you mentioned Viggo and everybody and sort of de-Hollywoodizing. I've got to say, everybody checked their pride and ego at the doors. Everybody just wanted to service this great story and try to be as authentic as they could possibly be and get it right, including the diving.
Yeah.
And they really learned from the real guys who've been on the show, Rick Stanton, John Valanthan, and the actors wound up doing all the diving themselves because they became so skilled.
Well, you could actually see that when he was going through it. I can't believe how when he was actually going under the water, how good they were, how skilled a diver they were. It's
it made a huge
unbelievable.
difference for me as a director, and I think for the audience to again really connect with the details of what it took to achieve this thing. I always kind of thought of it as a kind of an anatomy of a miracle. And it's not just the diving. There's so many acts of heroism, really difficult decisions made, risks taken that are beyond physical. They're also emotional, and other, from a lot of different people. And of course, there are a lot of stories to tell about this. But I'm running it through my lens. These are the key turning points in the characters that I wanted to feature.
How is it?
Sorry, so excited. me.
How is it to shoot those underwater sequences? I mean, you've done some stuff in tight spaces before. What is it like?
Well, I've done a lot of shooting in the open ocean, and I thought this was going to be kind of simple.
Yeah.
But even though these are sets constructed and dropped down into a tank to replicate the most difficult places in the cave and the most dramatic moments and things like that, you're still ultimately putting human beings into these incredibly tight spaces with all of this gear, and also trying to film it, stage it, and recreate these, you know, these harrowing moments. So it was far more complicated than I expected it to be. But the actors made so much possible.
So
I mean, I can't overstate that. Their determination to get this right and to put themselves in it was amazing.
And as a director, I'd be quite nervous for the culturally making sure that was correct. Because I mean, some of it's in Thai, well, a lot of it's in Thai, subtitled. Was that challenging for you?
Well, it was a huge challenge, and I mean, I knew we had to tackle the physicality of the caves, but I felt like there was a lot of suspense, a lot of tension and drama. I mean, you enter those caves, it's almost like entering a haunted house or something, you know. So I felt cinematically there was a lot to offer audiences, but I took it as a real challenge to get the Thai culture right, and I was able to deputize not only a couple of co-producers, but also our cinematographer, somebody on the production design team, and the actors. And of course, I love working with actors, and we had some who'd never acted before, some of the boys, but we had a lot of very experienced actors as well, and I implored them, please do not let me get this wrong. You know, this is about Thailand, and it's something I need to learn. Help me, and they were tremendous.
And that's the only way to start, isn't it, really? To have that starting point of you teach me what to do and then I'll take my skills and apply
Well, I love that. I mean, I didn't know anything about going to the moon before we started working on Apollo 13 or much about F1 before Rush.
Thing about,
I love learning. I love learning on the job.
The sound design, because I remember I was watching it with my wife, and she's a director, and it was the clunk. It's the clunk of the. That's, in many ways, that was the most terrifying thing and the most claustrophobic thing.
Great sound design team.
Because the tanks aren't on the back, are they? They've got to carry them and push them through.
They have to be able to, you know, take the tanks off and slide them through these tight spaces like that, and then wriggle themselves through. I mean, I've done just a little bit of caving dry, and in those circumstances, I realized I am claustrophobic. This is actually not fun for me. I'm going to get through it, but it ain't fun. And I can't imagine really what they do. And all of our actors, of course, discovered it, because even though those are sets, it's long stretches, design, you can't fake that.
It's amazing,
I know. Had to be that
how many
tight.
people did you meet who had been there during the rescue? You met the divers?
I met the divers and several people on the Thai side of things, including the guy who goes up on the mountain and is that water engineer, Tanet.
He's
a remarkable guy, fantastic story.
We had the boys on the show, you know. We were really lucky to have the boys. They met the divers. It was absolutely beautiful. It was so nice.
I've seen that
We've got some footage there.
Yes,
there they
I've
are.
seen it. Yeah,
absolutely amazing. Can we talk about on-set snacks? Because obviously in the film there was a lot of custard creams. Did you eat the custard creams? That's all I want to know. Can you appreciate a good custard cream?
It's not a matter of appreciation, it's a total addiction.
It is, isn't it?
Well, Colin Farrell insisted. He's playing John Valanthan, and John Valanthan likes the custard creams, and he and Viggo kind of fight over them in the movie, the Rick Stanton character. It's kind of a running joke, but so Colin Farrell said, we got to get the real custard creams here. So we imported them over there, and we all said, well, let me just try one. Ha, 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 we'll just try. Wait a minute. We have another couple of packs of those around somewhere?
So are you quite an Anglophile? You spent a lot of time over here, haven't you?
I've been shooting and working over here a lot. Really enjoy it. So is my daughter, Bryce. You know, look, it's a great film center, and you have fantastic opportunities to collaborate with elite talents. When you're
Someone told me a great story once. They met you. You said they were in a pub in London, and you walked past. I don't know if this is true or not, but I've always taken this as like, Ron Howard's a great guy. And you walked past, and a few of the boys were outside the pub. And they went, it's Ron Howard. I went, Ron, do you want a pint? And you went, I can't do a pint, but I can stay for a half.
That's a true story.
Hey!
And is it a true story? If you was going to remake any of your films, you'd remake Splash with me in it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Why would we not do that?
No one knew that
Why
before now. which is interesting.
Honestly, it's such a good film. If you can get out and watch it, it's going to be in cinemas on the 29th of July and streaming on Amazon Prime from the 5th of August. We've got to show you the reunion of when the divers met the boys. It was absolutely so emotional. Look at them.
Nice.
Look at that.
Oh, it was just such an emotional moment.
Well, it was just a real honor, honestly, to be able to recreate this story, to try to share with audiences on a really granular level, you know, what it felt like, and that emotion, the way the risks people took, it was inspiring. And every once in a while, we would look around at the real divers and we'd say, we're play acting. These guys did it.
Thank you so much.
We're
back
going to go
after your
straight to
local
the weather.
weather forecast.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Ron.